Welcome to Untold Truths, the space where we tear away the glittering veil to reveal stories that have never been recorded. Today, I will join you on a challenging journey, exploring Las Vegas not through the polished lens of tourism, but through the eyes of the invisible people amid the dazzling crowds. When night falls, the entertainment capital dons a cloak of thousands of neon lights. Casino bells ring out, cocktails glisten with melting ice, and each step on the red carpet seems to beckon you toward a dream. Yet, just beneath the surface, beyond the "Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas" signs, another world exists, one that crosses bus tracks, weaves through every corridor, where lives struggle for warmth, a scrap of food, even just a peaceful night's sleep. Thousands of people, veterans haunted by war guilt, single parents holding their young children, elderly individuals trembling on cold benches, are all swallowed by the vortex of poverty, addiction, and a bewildering support system. The troubling question is this: is Las Vegas creating opportunities for people to rise up? Or is its economic structure inadvertently choking the hopes of so many lives? This video is not an ordinary tour. It is a journey that exposes brutal truths, a mirror reflecting the dark side of the City of Lights. Join me in looking straight at a Las Vegas that every travel guide avoids, because sometimes it's in the darkness that the stories most need to be told. As night falls on the City of Sparks, Las Vegas dazzles with the dance of 1,000 neon bulbs in an endless nocturnal spectacle. Yet just beneath that radiance, a silent crisis is spreading at an alarming rate. In 2024, the number of people without homes in Las Vegas rose by more than 18% compared to the previous year. This figure is not only proof of deepening inequality, but also a stern warning about a ruthless reality where fragile lives fight simply to survive. This picture begins on familiar streets. Downtown, once the city's vibrant heart, now echoes only with shuffling footsteps over faded crimson carpet. At the corner of Miles, once the site of the tensest high-stakes games, tarps now hide makeshift tents on the sidewalks, mingling the scent of damp mildew and cigarette smoke. Walk along Owens Avenue, and you'll find camps lined closely beside the road, their dim yellow lights casting weary faces brimming with fragile hope. And Charleston Boulevard, the route connecting the city center to the suburbs, has become a refuge for dozens of single-parent families, wounded veterans, and unemployed workers, their empty eyes searching for an escape. By January 2025, Clark County, home to Las Vegas, had recorded nearly 6,500 homeless individuals, an alarming number that reminds us these are not mere shadows but real-life stories. Under thin blankets, you'll find elderly people trembling, murmuring prayers, babies clutching cold bottles in the silent night, veterans hiding in the darkness, carrying nameless traumas, and young couples sharing a single tarp in the park just to see each other after a long, grueling day. They come from diverse backgrounds, but share the same blind spot, a lack of housing and social support that traps them in an inescapable cycle. The glow of the casinos and the prosperity of the Strip only accentuate the unbridgeable gap. Average rent has risen by more than $500 in just 5 years, turning ordinary apartments into unattainable luxuries. Behind the statistics lie countless hidden lives, huddled in truck cabins, sheltering in pitch-black garages, or living under overpasses patched with scraps of tarp. They do not appear in official reports, are not counted on waiting lists for assistance, yet they are the true face of a Las Vegas that tourists have never seen. Those dry figures serve as a reminder. While the casinos trade coins for cheers, somewhere, people are staking their very lives. An 18% increase, that's not just an economic indicator, but the anguish song of thousands of forgotten souls. Every nylon tent, every makeshift underpass, every truck turned shelter tells its own story, yet they all share one cry. They are waiting for an outstretched hand, for timely policies, for solutions that will bring them back to normal life. And right here, between light and darkness, we must ask, is the economic and social structure saving lives, or inadvertently crushing the most vulnerable? Stay with us as we delve deeper into the causes, impacts, and the faint sparks of hope flickering within the homelessness crisis in Las Vegas. Imagine pulling out your wallet to pay the rent, and the figure staring back makes your heart race. More than half of Las Vegas renters now must devote over 35% of their income just for walls and a roof. While the outside world lights up in splendor, thousands of families struggle to count every penny, monthly risking everything, betting their next meal against defaulting on rent. Then you find yourself in a waiting room full of hushed voices. The housing assistance waiting list stretches so long that some people must wait 2 whole years just for a spot in a temporary shelter. Every name called sparks hope, only to be extinguished when their number isn't up. The silence is eerie, broken only by the rustle of paper as someone startles at the thought of an imminent loan payment. On the income side, Nevada still enforces a minimum wage of $10.25 per hour, a bold print on labor contracts, but woefully insufficient in the face of a living wage that requires at least $23 per hour. Morning finds you boarding a bus for another hour and a half commute to your shift. Evening finds you exhausted to the bone, yet your wallet remains flat. Golden sunlight streams across your ceiling, casting shadows over an unpaid utility bill you don't know how you will cover. And then, deep within the darkness under overpasses and makeshift tents, another equally ruthless battle rages. A crisis of mental health and substance abuse. 1 in 4 homeless individuals wrestles daily with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or severe depression, illnesses that silently sever all ties to community. It's not uncommon to see someone clutching their head on an empty street, tears running down their cheeks as a wave of paranoia crashes over them. And those forgotten corners where few venture, the acrid stench of spilled liquor mingles with dried urine. 38% fall deeply into alcoholism or drug addiction, seeking relief from pain but sinking ever further into the abyss of despair. If only a key existed to unlock timely treatment, but in reality, they are alone in a maze of red tape and economic barriers. This chain of causes weaves a bleak tapestry. Wages too low to cover costs, untreated mental illness, relentlessly rising rents, leading to loss of home, loss of jobs, loss of direction. Each broken link spins a vortex that leaves people stranded far from any fresh start. Imagine a single mother in the bitter Nevada winter, wrapping a thin blanket around her child, not just an instinct to survive, but a desperate act against a system that has forsaken them. And then, when those dry statistics are given life through personal stories, we feel the truth. This is not merely a housing crisis, but a crisis of compassion. When social mechanisms fail to mend each small crack, the entire structure fractures, leaving behind lives like Marcus's or that of the bent-over grandmother, each leaving footprints on an ever-narrowing path. Next, we will dive into the unforeseeable consequences and explore how the city is striving to heal these wounds. Stay tuned. The pressure from the homelessness crisis does not stop at rain-drenched sidewalks. It permeates every crevice of the city. Picture a Las Vegas hospital's emergency room. Beds packed with pale faces, eyes weary from nights spent outdoors. Each year, the health system admits thousands of cases, from injury accidents to respiratory infections contracted in the open air, and acute mental health emergencies. Doctors and nurses strain to balance budgets, medical supplies, and shifts, while authorities are forced to funnel tens of millions of dollars just to maintain basic care services. At the same time, the streets have grown hotter, with incidents of petty theft, breaches of public order, and complaints about public safety. Police must deploy patrols around the clock throughout the makeshift camps, even as they remain responsible for protecting tourists and responding to casino incidents. Every call reporting a homeless person causing trouble consumes hours of security officers' time, disrupts patrol schedules, and drives up operating costs. The police budget, already tight, becomes even more strained as it tries to balance maintaining social order with supporting people in dire need. Meanwhile, those with a roof over their heads witness rent climbing month after month like an unstoppable freight train. Savings evaporate, money funnels into utility bills, fuel, and food, leaving no opportunity to set anything aside. Many families face the choice between buying groceries or keeping their temporary apartment, accepting the hardship of cramped quarters rather than joining the ranks of the homeless. At the same time, the social support network, from nonprofits to government temporary housing programs, struggles to catch up with demand but is constantly left behind. Intake centers are always overcrowded, phones ring incessantly, and support emails flood inboxes. Those seeking assistance must wait weeks or months, and many give up before ever receiving help. They continue slipping through the night onto sidewalks, anxiously awaiting the dawn and hoping that a warm blanket or a hot meal might arrive in time. The hidden impact of the homelessness crisis is not just in the big numbers, but in the story of a system slowly fracturing under overwhelming pressure. Overburdened health services, shaky public safety, dwindling upward mobility, and an exhausted support network all combine into a ruthless vortex that we cannot afford to ignore. Let's continue exploring how current systems are receiving and confronting this challenge, and whether any spark of hope can still rise from the ashes. In the city that never sleeps, where casino clocks tick endlessly through the night, there exists a support network racing against time, but it always seems a step behind. Imagine you are a low-income family renting an apartment, dreaming of a safe home. In reality, only about 34 such apartments are allocated for every 100 qualifying households. You and dozens of other families sit in the support office, your housing assistance application crumpled from every fold. The housing approval process is like a paperwork labyrinth. This form needs the township signature, an income certification, a health status report, then it must be notarized. With every step, new anxieties arise. Will my documents get lost? Are any signatures missing? The staff, though dedicated, are overwhelmed by thousands of cases at once, while the operating budget is too tight to hire more hands. As a result, the procedural merry-go-round traps your family week after week. By the time hope has dimmed, those temporary units may already have been promised to someone else. That's not all. Nearly 80,000 long-term rental units have vanished compared to actual need, turning the dream of stable housing into a luxury for thousands of families. Renters scramble to find suitable apartments, often forced to borrow to pay a deposit, only to face skyrocketing prices when it's time to renew. The unit that seemed affordable yesterday becomes a financial burden a few months later, leaving them reeling. Turning to healthcare and community reintegration, the picture is no less tragic. In 2025, the health budget for each homeless patient is under $4,000, a figure that sounds substantial but is a drop in the bucket when treating people with psychological trauma or chronic illness. Acute mental health crises often require extended treatment regimens, medication, counseling, and livelihood support, but when the budget runs dry, they receive only a fraction of what they need and are sent back to the streets with spirits broken. Amid those cold figures and bureaucratic procedures, there are elderly people painstakingly folding blankets, mothers staring listlessly at their restless children, and eyes full of a desperate yearning for healing. They have unwittingly become victims of an ineffective aid system where delays, shortages, and red tape prolong their suffering. And while the desert casinos continue to fuel the get-rich-quick dream for many, just across the sidewalk a support system is crying out for help. Only when we reform bureaucratic procedures, inject additional resources, and put people before paperwork can we hope to fill the empty spaces in the hearts and homes of the forgotten. Amid the throngs scrambling for shelter, the Las Vegas authorities have begun pouring new resources in to kindle the first sparks of hope. They have expanded the community housing budget, turning millions of dollars into bricks and warm tin roofs. Along dusty roads, you'll see empty lots taking shape as tiny home villages, quaint little houses as snug as bird nests, each plank of wood and pane of glass shimmering in the morning light. In parallel, container home projects are emerging, old steel boxes painted bright colors, fitted with glass windows and solar panels, becoming provisional but humane dwellings. Beyond bricks and mortar, the government has pledged $920 million to expand mental health care throughout the Las Vegas Valley. Picture red logo mobile crisis units patrolling alleys, ready to respond at a moment's notice to psychiatric emergencies. Counseling centers popping up in neighborhoods, where unhoused clients join group therapy sessions, guided by the gentle chime of a bell inviting them in through the doors of hope. At the same time, Las Vegas is fortifying its social welfare net, boosting rental assistance payments and tightening approval processes so that funds reach those in urgent need more efficiently, expanding Medicaid to cover more mental health and addiction treatments, and issuing electronic food stamp benefits (EBT) that bring a warm meal within reach of struggling families. When you see a mother in line at the supermarket tapping her EBT card, you understand it's more than just a voucher. It's a lifeline safeguarding her child's next meal. Among these measures, the Housing First model at Hope Home shines as a vivid example of immediate age transformative power. They ask for very little paperwork. Simply give the homeless a place to live right away, then build recovery services around that stability. The outcome? Nearly 55% of chronically homeless individuals have regained stability, returned to work, and restored faith in their lives. Alongside government efforts, the nonprofit sector plays an indispensable role. Help of Southern Nevada, with over $1.2 million in funding, has swiftly opened a network of recovery centers where small groups learn job skills, receive psychological counseling, and connect with community. You'll see modest classrooms under fluorescent lights, whiteboards filled with notes, and passionate staff asking, "How are you feeling today?" with reassuring smiles. From community housing bricks to mobile crisis vans, from EBT cards to tiny homes aglow with morning light, each solution is a piece of the larger puzzle. Though the crisis cannot be erased overnight, these steps show tangible progress, linking resources to people, policy to compassion. The road ahead remains long, but the flame of hope has been lit, warming lives that were once chilled in the endless city. And then, amid rows of makeshift tents and the darkness of a Walmart parking lot, Marcus's story stands out as the most vivid testament to the struggle for survival in Las Vegas. Once, he was a shining hotel front desk agent in a crisp suit, greeting guests at a 4-star property. The scent of freshly brewed coffee, the click-click of the cash register, and the lobby's warm glow were Marcus's daily rhythm. But after the pandemic froze the tourism industry, his anxiety disorder flared, panic without warning, a racing heart in his chest, and eventually cost him his job. With nowhere to turn, Marcus was forced to park his old truck in a corner of the Walmart lot under the harsh yellow glare of lampposts. Nighttime in the parking lot is like an exhibition of lonely shadows. The wind howling through metal panels, the smell of hot plastic when the truck's A/C kicks on, and the sudden screech of car wheels stopping that jolts anyone awake. Marcus curls into his thin blanket, searching for warmth in the chill, his vacant eyes staring up at the truck's ceiling as if seeking some comfort from the night sky. And then, in that fleeting moment between despair and hope, Marcus encountered the mobile mental health care team. They were ambulances not only carrying medicine, but also bearing the promise of being heard and protected. Under the flashing lights of the ambulance, Marcus received an examination, was prescribed mood-stabilizing medication, and most importantly, was handed his Housing First ticket, the pass that granted him a temporary spot in one of the tiny home villages funded by the government. In that small room just big enough for a warm mattress, Marcus finally told his story to a stranger whom he truly felt understood him. The clock ticked softly, raindrops pattered on the tin roof, and sincere words of encouragement rang out. "You are not alone. We are here with you." In that moment, he realized that only when you have a place to call home can you find the courage to stand back up. Before long, Marcus began attending group therapy sessions, sitting in a circle with others who had faced similar crises, sharing experiences and ways to overcome. Workshops on simple survival skills, from managing a shoestring budget to coping with panic attacks, were woven together thoughtfully, helping Marcus rebuild his confidence. He even enrolled in a security guard certification course at the local center, because Marcus understood that a stable job not only brings income, but also restores a sense of purpose. Today, Marcus rents his own room, complete with a small window overlooking the Nevada trees swaying in the breeze. Every morning, he brews himself a cup of strong black coffee, the aroma that accompanied him through months of hotel service, and watches the desert sunrise cast a golden glow through the curtains. No longer sleeping in his truck or shivering in a makeshift tent, Marcus now prepares for his first day on the job in his new security uniform, ready to protect the community that once had to hide its own existence. Marcus's story is a vivid testament to the power of timely assistance and the Housing First model. He once stood on the brink of the abyss, and now he has stepped to the other side, where there is meaningful work, a safe shelter, and the promise of a new chapter. In the click of his security badge, we hear more than a simple sound. It is the echo of faith reborn in a barren desert where Las Vegas continues to dazzle and still fights for its invisible souls. When the statistic of over 650,000 Americans without a home in 2025 is announced, it ceases to be a dry number and becomes the collective sigh of lives trapped between the neon glare and the cold curb. From Las Vegas to New York, from Houston to Seattle, every street corner paints the same picture. Piles of clothing in temporary shelters, hollow-eyed elders huddled against the winter chill, moonlight trembling on tattered tarps. Yet amid these images, sparks of hope still glow as communities everywhere join hands to take action. First, we can support local organizations with in-kind donations and financial gifts. Imagine gathering fresh blankets to warm the trembling hands of an elderly man without shelter. Or a small cash donation, sometimes just a few dozen dollars, sent to help of Southern Nevada, Operation Homefront, or other charities. Each blanket, each bag of warm clothes, each dollar transforms into warmth for the body, encouragement for the spirit, and relief from the bone-chilling cold of the Nevada desert. When those bundles of bedding arrive and volunteers unload them on dusty streets, you see the gratitude in recipients' eyes, not merely the relief of being given something, but the reaffirmation that society still cares. Donating goods becomes a ticket back into a caring embrace, erasing the invisible divide between us and them. Next, volunteering to serve meals and clean up homeless encampments creates a powerful ripple effect. Picture yourself carrying steaming trays of food to a hungry child after a torrential downpour, or you and friends pulling weeds and gathering litter to make the tent cluster less oppressive. These small acts help transform each block into a kinder space. A whispered, "Thank you," sunlight filtering through leaves onto a recipient's smiling face. These moments etch themselves into memory, reminding us of the power of compassion. We cannot overlook the role of media and information sharing. In the age of social networks, a single video you make or a post you share can touch thousands of hearts. Film the construction of the very first tiny home, interview the mental health paramedic patrolling the slums, or recount Marcus's story, the security guard who once slept in his truck. When viewers scroll through their news feeds, they may only see glitzy Las Vegas. But thanks to you, they will see Las Vegas beyond the lights, a place where, standing before the darkness, people need a helping hand. All these shares help to extinguish the flame of indifference and spark the question in everyone's mind: what can I do to make a difference? From there, the power of collective resonance spreads so that not only Las Vegas, but the whole of America is a little less burdened with suffering. Finally, we must push policy forward through active citizenship. You can write to your Nevada state legislator outlining the housing shortage and the healthcare costs weighing down the budget. Or sign an online petition calling for more social housing funding. Attend town hall meetings, use your voice to ask about plans for tiny homes and container housing, about expanding Medicaid and food stamp benefits EBT. Every vote, every letter, every small demonstration adds pressure on decision makers. As the campaign gains momentum, with hundreds or thousands sending letters and signing petitions, it will cease to be a lone voice. The government, under pressure from constituents, will have to engage and act swiftly. Housing assistance funds will rise, paperwork will be streamlined, and at last many families will be spared from life on the streets. The linkage of every action, from material donations and on-site volunteering to media advocacy and policy campaigning, will create a chain reaction that gradually heals the wounds of the homelessness crisis. When you give a blanket, you become the bridge between compassion and practical need. When you volunteer, you kindle a light in the darkness. When you share a story, you broaden the community's vision. And when you push for policy change, you compel the system to stand with the vulnerable. Only when society unites and acts in concert can we hope to end this silent struggle for survival, so that Las Vegas, and every city across America, ceases to be a playground for the few and truly becomes home to all. If we hesitate, the homelessness crisis will spread like a snowball, sweeping away every ounce of compassion. Las Vegas is no exception, but the lesson from Houston shows that things can change. That oil town slashed its homeless population by 60% in a single decade through close cooperation between government, businesses, and community. Government acts as the architect, transforming public land into social housing projects and simplifying procedures to erect wave after wave of tiny homes and container units. When official seals on paperwork cease to be barriers, the first foundations are poured and light spills through windows, igniting hope for families huddled under nylon tarps. Next, businesses serve as the essential economic engine. They commit to paying living wages and launch vocational training programs, turning corporate boardrooms into classrooms where the homeless can learn new trades. Picture workers in reflective vests confidently stepping onto construction sites, or newly certified security officers clutching their guard certification packets, all thanks to stable job opportunities. Finally, the people themselves are the fuel that kindles unity. When you donate a blanket, serve hot meals, or simply share Marcus's video, you broadcast the message: we leave no one behind. With one social media post, hundreds or thousands will join hands, bringing both warm blankets and open hearts. When all three pillars unite, the results will exceed all expectations. A city like Las Vegas will no longer be just the miracle of the desert with its sparkling lights, but a place where every person is welcomed, no matter their background. Imagine driving down the Strip and, alongside the casinos, seeing rows of warm tiny homes at the foot of the resorts, places where lives once forgotten now finally have a home to call their own. That vision is both our aspiration and our responsibility. When government frames effective policies, businesses drive job creation, and citizens lend support through concrete action, not only Houston but Las Vegas and hundreds of other cities will write a story of true humanity, where the light that shines brightest comes from human hearts, not just neon beams. Let's act together today. Only when we stand united can the dream of a city without makeshift tents become reality, and the jingle of casino bells will be heard only within rooms, where people truly have homes, livelihoods, and dignity. Homelessness is not just dry statistics on a chart, it is individual lives all around us. The trembling grandmother clutching a thin blanket beneath an overpass, the young family huddled in an old truck, the veteran hiding under a flimsy tarp. They are not an abstract social problem, but hearts yearning for warmth, breath, and the chance to live. As living costs rise daily, minimum wage falls further behind skyrocketing rents, and healthcare and welfare systems buckle under the strain, the most vulnerable are pushed to the brink. The neon lights of Las Vegas only underscore a cruel reality. Behind the glamour lies a relentless fight for survival, where the dream of stable housing feels like a fading mirage. And now, this is more than an invitation to watch, it is a call to action. Don't let Marcus's story end on your screen. Share this message so more people will see it, comment to spark the conversation, and be sure to subscribe to our channel to join us on future humanitarian journeys. Every click, every share is a drop that joins the ocean of compassion.